Eagles are gearing up for a repeat and turning to some interesting places for advice. Dallas Goedert tells us what two-time Super Bowl champ they've heard from. Plus, a potential addition to the Eagles decides to join a different flock of birds. So the Eagles have shelled out for Jair Alexander. And Tanner McKee cracks our list of top 25 most important Eagles. What's the ceiling for the Birds' backup quarterback? With that, we welcome you here to Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL. Alongside Dave Zangaro, I am Amy Fadool, and the Eagles are gearing up for that repeat, looking for a little motivation anywhere they can find it. And sometimes it is hard to kind of motivate yourself. You just got to the finish line, the promised land. How are they doing that?
Yeah, everyone has their own motivating factors, and some people it's internal. Some people have to find it, and maybe they'll even make it up if they need to. There's nothing wrong with that.
I like it. Well, you know, we've had the dog masks. You never know what they're going to do. Let's take a listen to Dallas Goedert from the Takeoff with John Clark podcast on how they're trying to stay locked in.
I think Coach Sirianni's has been doing a great job of trying to forget the past, but also grow from the past, if that makes sense. It's been cool. Obviously, I get to do more things now that I'm more advanced in my career. I get to go to the leadership meetings. We've been able to talk with many great players, Peyton Manning. We talk about sustained success, and, we got his opinion on how to do it multiple times.
What do you think his main message was to you guys about trying to repeat as Super Bowl champs?
I would say that it just takes the work every day, and you have to find little nuances. One thing that I thought was interesting is that he would make fake quotes and put them in the locker room because, nobody was saying that they were bad or they beat them. So he'd put, my receiver can't get off a press, and he'd put that in his receiver's locker. And are you serious? He said that? And, it's just finding different ways to keep yourself motivated when the negative isn't coming at you.
I like it. That brings us to our three-point stance presented by Toyota. The road to repeat is not going to be easy. That's our first stance. And Dave, it is funny to hear how Peyton Manning kept his teammates kind of locked in. Can the Eagles maybe take a page from that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is nothing new. Athletes finding a way to become motivated. Like even last year, there was a lot of drama toward the end of the season that somehow got turned us against them. It was coming from inside the building.
Exactly.
But yeah, you can kind of twist these things and whatever works for you. In that interview with Dallas Goedert, John brought up Michael Jordan, and he would kind of do that. You kind of like make up things that people were saying about him. It gives you an interesting insight into the brain of how like an elite athlete operates, and whatever works. If it needs to be us versus the world, no one believes in us, you can kind of manufacture that, because let's be honest, no one is saying the Eagles can't do this. They have the best roster in the NFL. They're favorites to win the Super Bowl, but if they can somehow rally everyone and say, hey, no one believes that we can do this again, it might work in their favor.
Yeah, you've heard of players like looking to get to the sideline and just picking a fan and thinking, that guy's against me. And they'll use any motivation they can. Our second stance is Dallas Goedert can have a career year. Last season, he played just 10 games due to injury. His career highs in each category does seem achievable if he can stay on the field. And Dave, that's been kind of like the same song and dance we've had of him staying healthy for the full season.
Yeah, what year is this? And how many times are we going to ask if this is the year Dallas Goedert has a career season? I don't know. I mean, it really comes down to whether or not he stays healthy. And over the last 5 or 6 years, he hasn't been able to stay on the field for a full season. When he's out there, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. And if he ever does put together a healthy season, he has a chance to be a Pro Bowl. He has a chance to maybe be an All-Pro. He is that caliber of player, and he proved it in the playoffs last year. In those 4 games, he had 17 catches, 215 yards, and a touchdown. It's the second biggest single postseason for receiving the Eagles have ever had in their history, behind just Alshon Jeffrey in 2017. So, he can do it in any given game. It's just a matter of can he stay on the field. I don't know. A lot of money is at stake for Dallas Goedert.
That's the thing.
It's a contract year for him. If he can do it, he'll probably cash in. It might not be here, but he can make some money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think money necessarily motivates a guy exactly like Dallas Goedert, because I think he is wanting to prove his legacy and stay on the field. But that can be a big motivator when he wants to really prove not only that he is a high-value tight end in the league, but that he's worth that too.
Yeah, and look, we've seen him long enough. The numbers might not be there, right?
Yeah.
Because even if he plays a full season, there's still A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Saquon Barkley, a lot of mouths to feed. But you watch him, just watch him, and you see how good of a player he is, he's a dual threat, and he's a really unique player because he does everything so well, right? He has sure hands, but he also has the yak potential. He's really good after the catch, catches the ball in phase, can make big plays. We saw that stiff arm. He has all that ability, and then he's also a really good blocker, and he's not just a good blocker down the field. We've seen some tight ends do that. He's a good blocker in line in the run game. He really is a complete tight end. So even if the production in terms of the receiving numbers aren't there, he still means an awful lot to this offense.
Well, hopefully he can get out there for almost all of the games, would hope, and stays healthy. Well, our third stance, Jai Alexander, he's not going to be joining the Eagles. Alexander inked a one-year deal with the Ravens, $4 million, with a chance to earn another $2 million in incentives. So if you're Howie Roseman, would you have made that deal for Jair Alexander?
It's an interesting question because when Alexander is kind of like the Dallas Goedert conversation, right? When he's healthy, he's on the field, he's great. But this is like taking that to the next level. Alexander has played exactly half of the games the last 4 years, 34 of 68. So he has missed a ton of time. And I think the Eagles not signing him actually shows their confidence in what they have on the roster right now. And the top guy on that list is Keely Ringo, who is just about to turn 23. Kind of took a step back in the depth chart last year through no fault of his own. They drafted Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and then they had Isaiah Rodgers come back off a suspension. Ringo got to sit last year, but he is in that captain's chair to be the outside cornerback over Adoree Jackson. I think it will be Keely Ringo, and to me that's a vote of confidence for the young player, saying, hey, we're not going to buck the trend of this offseason of getting younger, relying on our young players by going out and spending money on a one-year aging veteran who can't stay healthy. They have Adoree Jackson as kind of the insurance policy for Keely Ringo, but to me this says, hey, let's see what Keely has in training camp before we make any kind of move at the position. I like that. I think that you do want to see Ringo, at least I want to see Ringo in this role. I think he has a ton of potential.
Yeah, I mean, especially for $4 million, I think that's what's going to get a lot of Eagles fans. I mean, like, it's such a cheap deal. Obviously, he could make up to $6 million. Do you like that number? Are you surprised by that number?
It's a low number, but
it is.
Availability, man, like that matters. And he has not been very available. And there's also the locker room dynamic of this thing. I don't think he always had the best locker room dynamic in Green Bay. He went out there for the coin toss on his own accord, which is one of my favorite moments in recent NFL history. So you have to make sure you have the right locker room. He's going to a team in Baltimore where he has his former teammate in Lamar Jackson. So maybe the Eagles could assume that, but they have such a young defense. I like the idea of rolling with the young guys.
All right, we're going to take a quick timeout, and as we do, we check out the playbook presented by Supercuts. When we return, we're going to continue our countdown of top 25 most important Eagles. We're looking at the backup quarterback, Tanner McKee. Plus, we're also going to check out our 32 teams in 32 days by speaking with SNY Giants insider Connor Hughes. And wait until you hear where one team is holding their minicamp. Dave and everybody else is jealous, including me. This is Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL.